I wanted to show you the whole process of carving a really simple eye, and we're going to start with the V chisel. And yes, that was a mistake. Now, you don't have to use a mallet to do all this. You could just push it through with your hands, but I figured some people might like to use a mallet, depending on your particular style, or maybe the kind of wood you're using. And now I'm just using a flat chisel, what I call the bendy boy. And what I'm going to do is just slant down the eyelids so they're kind of slanting down away from the eyeball, making like a little hill there. If you're wondering what kind of wood this is, it's linden wood, which is basically the same as basswood. So if you're in North America, you might use basswood. If you're in Europe, you might use linden wood. I'm going to keep coming back with the V chisel throughout the whole video, just to clean up all these little edges and all these furry fuzzy bits that are coming off. Now we're going to a small gouge, and conveniently you can't see what I'm doing because my hands are in the way, but I'm basically just using it to shape the very edge of the eye and the little kind of tear duct thing, or whatever it is, in the corner of your eye. I'm not sure what it's called. Now this bit's a little bit tricky. You might prefer to use a knife for something like this, or a gouge or a set of gouges that have the right shape for you to push down around the eye, or mallet down around the eye. I like to use the corner of the chisel and slide it along, but you know, there's lots of different ways to do the same thing in wood carving, as in lots of other disciplines as well. And basically all we're doing now is shaping the eyeball. So we're just making all those sides dive down, and especially the corners of the eyeball are diving down the most into the corners to give us more a feeling of that ball shape of the eyeball. Now it might seem a little bit counterintuitive to use a flat chisel to make a rounded surface, but I quite often use my bench chisels to make a rounded surface like this, because My bench chisels are the sharpest tools I have because I sharpen them with a honing guide, so I can sharpen them the most accurately out of all my chisels. So in a minute you'll see me use a bench chisel for doing this same thing. Now I wanted to do the whole video with no angle changes or anything like that, just to give people kind of an idea of how to carve an eye. Maybe this makes a bit more sense if we just stay from the same angle the whole time. And I wanted to include basically all the steps I could, so you could kind of follow along and not feel like you were lagging behind. So the video that you're seeing is basically the amount of time it took me to carve this eye. I've just cut out a few small gaps where I was picking up other tools. So now that we've rounded the eyeball over, I'm going to draw where the iris is, and we're going to make kind of like a big divot in it, sort of like a crater from a meteor, like a bowl shape. That's how I would describe it. And I'm going to use this pretty cheap chisel that I got from AliExpress, a Chinese chisel. I think it was about £4, and I found it to be pretty useful. And when it comes to this tricky little bit in the centre, I decided to switch gouges to a smaller one, just so we could kind of try and clean this up by going across the grain. You obviously need a really sharp chisel for this. Now the pupil is basically the same as the iris, except we're going to go a lot smaller, obviously, and just make it like another little divot. And while we're doing this, I just want to say thank you very much to my supporters on YouTube and Patreon. Thank you very much, guys, and in particular this week to PizzaJ18, who joins at the Bendy Boy Society tier. Thanks a lot, Jay. Appreciate it. So there you have it, a simple eye carved into linden wood. And also a selection of other eyes that I carved. And there's a template for members of the Bendy Boy Society on my Patreon for those eyes, and some others. Thanks for watching.